Hello, my name is Katerina Robert and I'm a junior here at Auburn University School of Nursing, but I'm originally from Peachtree City, Georgia. Today I would like to teach you 5 key points that I learned about veteran health when I was researching my paper last semester on post-traumatic stress, better known as PTSD. First, let's start with what is PTSD? PTSD is a mental health disorder that can be characterized as a stress response caused by a traumatic event that can persist over a long period of time. Veterans will experience a range of reactions after trauma, yet most recover from initial symptoms naturally, while others who continue to experience problems may be diagnosed with PTSD. Second, let's look at the many symptoms seen with veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. These include hyperarousal, negative feelings, avoidance of situations, and re-experiencing. Hyperarousal is when a person is very jittery and on the lookout for danger. These people may suddenly become angry or irritable. Many PTSD veterans become depressed and start to distort feelings into guilt or blame, which then puts negative thoughts about oneself or on the world. They also begin to avoid places or events that are reminders of the traumatic experience. Re-experience is a major part of veterans' lives because they can't help when they are going to have a flashback or bad dreams about the traumatic event. Many of these symptoms cause the veterans to feel emotionally numb. Third, PTSD is known to correlate with other health issues. PTSD can affect people's sleep and cause obstructive sleep apnea, that is a disorder that affects the upper airway of the lungs. Not only does obstructive sleep disorder correlate to PTSD, another correlation would be hypertension. The research is showing that a domino effect can occur with veterans who acquire PTSD from time spent at war. For many of these veterans suffering from PTSD, a common characteristic is heavy smoking and alcoholic drinking. This is an easy way for veterans to be able to cope with problems with exposed to hyperarousal situations. Many also do not engage in a lot of physical activity. Fourth, the most successful treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder is psychotherapy, in other words, counseling, known as cognitive behavioral therapy. In this process, veterans meet with therapists for a certain amount of time each week to discuss the trauma experience. During the meetings, different techniques are used: cognitive processing therapy and prolonged exposure therapy. Cognitive processing therapy helps the victims realize where the feelings and thoughts from the trauma came from, and how can one change this feeling to become less afflicting. Prolonged exposure therapy can sometimes be a little bit more intensive type of therapy because of the constant need to discuss the trauma to the point where the veterans no longer is upset by the experience. Both of these therapies help allow the veterans to eventually accept the trauma and be able to go into situations one may have been avoiding previously. And finally, many victims are prescribed to medication to help manage the disorder as well. Many of the medications just make veterans feel better while on them, but do not cure PTSD. PTSD can occur in anyone who experiences a traumatic event, not only in veterans who have been at war. If you know someone who has PTSD, encourage him or her to seek help for treatment. Post-traumatic stress disorder is not something that should be put to the side. All the best wishes to you and your studies. What a tremendous opportunity to get to interview the veterans later in March. And don't forget, War Eagle!